Hello and welcome to the next little video on our Marvel-Thon vlog reviews. From Iron Man, the fantastic, invincible Iron Man, to the Incredible Hulk. And this time I'm going to have good old Bizarro Critic here take center stage for this one, since I don't really have that much to say about, well, compared to the first Iron Man movie, I don't really have too much to say about it or want to take the spotlight in explaining.
Yeah.
I
really am surprised when it comes to Hulk, because didn't you one time tell me that Hulk was one of your favorite Marvel characters?
He is. He is one of my absolute favorite superheroes, period. As you might have remembered, as I mentioned in the Iron Man video, I grew up, just like with the Spider-Man animated series, I grew up with the Hulk animated series, which is one of the most underrated cartoons of all time. It still shocks me that there's only 21 episodes with a couple of crossover episodes and a couple of other shows, a couple of other Marvel shows at the time that clearly did not sync well with what the Hulk animated series was doing at the time. And it's still my most favorite Hulk thing to date, with the exception of the 2003 film. I know a lot of people hate that film for various reasons, and I'll personally touch upon that subject later in the video, but I still love that film after all these years. So, and when I rewatched Incredible Hulk to prepare for this, it was a lot better than I remember it to be, but I'll explain that more later. So, I guess, I don't know if you want to start off with some basic facts about this movie. This was released in June of 2008, barely a month after the first Iron Man movie was released.
Yep.
Talk about back-to-back, like putting them close to each other as soon as possible.
Yeah, which happened kind of similar to Black Panther to Avengers Infinity War. Granted, it was like there was more of a space between those two, but still.
Yeah, so I guess I don't know, you want to put some more basic facts around this movie, and then start explaining the plot.
Okay. So yeah, when the film came out, a lot of people were kind of hesitant and very curious whether or not this was going to be a sequel or a reboot of it. Pretty much it is a reboot, just make it perfectly clear. A lot of people like to say it's a sequel/reboot, but it's a fucking reboot. The only thing that connects it to the original, to the previous film, is South America. Like, that Bruce just so happened to it. Everything else about it is different. His origin is different. It's closer to the TV show. In fact, the movie plays off more like a modern version of the live-action TV series.
But it's based off the Ultimate Comics, right?
No. If that was the case,
this version of Hulk is based off the Ultimate Comics.
That's more. Well, I guess I guess when it comes to what Leader's design, I guess, or what his design would have been if he got to be used in the movie, which I'll get into on that, because that's such bullshit. But no, actually, it was played off a little bit more like the TV series. Though the Ultimate Comics did play a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a lot of elements would be taken in there, like having Ultimate Nick Fury be the Nick Fury of their world. And also several other Marvel designs and some of the origins being closer to the Ultimates. Like Captain America's costume is more like the Ultimate costume. Hulk was actually more closer to the TV series, at least, with Bruce Banner himself. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you would go on YouTube and you would find someone taking the voiceover of the original, TV series, but having it instead with the footage of the movie, or at least the opening of the movie. The point is, it's a reboot. My point is it's a reboot. It's not a sequel. Whether that's a good thing or not, that depends on you guys. When it comes to the Hulk film, I'm indifferent of it. I like what it was trying to do. I like that it was trying to be more psychological, which Hulk is. Hulk is a very psychological character. It's not just Hulk smash, or the Gray Hulk of I'm the toughest guy around. You're all weaklings. No, he actually does have. There is some psychological stuff regarding the Hulk and some of the stuff, and some really deep issues that not many comic book creators really dive into nowadays. And whenever they do, they never really fully grasp, really play with the idea that much. so when it came to that film, I'm indifferent of it. Again, that was the thing I liked, but the other stuff I did have problems with it. I feel like I feel like the whole thing with his father just felt really weird. Not the fact that he was evil, because yeah, Bruce Banner's father in the comics, he usually is depicted as a complete total shit. But the whole like making him absorbing man just felt really out of place. It just didn't. I don't know. Personally, for me, I didn't feel like it fit. I feel like it could have been better if they made him like a version of the Maestro, which, if you don't know who that is, he was in the comics. He's an evil Bruce Banner, but I think it would be kind of cool if they had it where Bruce's father was like that version of Maestro, or the Maestro, whatever how you want to pronounce it. But yeah, like that, I kind of feel like that. And also the editing, I get what they were trying to do of making it look like a comic book, but oh my god, it looks so silly. Like, it is so fucking silly. Like, I can't take the movie seriously. Like, the scene where Talbot, dies from the explosion, where he does, like I can't help but, I can't help but laugh when I hear him go, like, ah! I'm like, oh my fucking god! What the fuck is this? That's not I know Talbot's I know how you like the scene because Talbot's so fucking pathetic and such a little weasel, but I honestly, for me, I feel like the scene's supposed to be more I feel like it was supposed to be played off more horrifying than comedic, and honestly it doesn't work. Like hell, like some of the transitions look so wonky, and just how some things work, just I don't know what the hell they're going for. And yeah, I do feel like the Hulk's design was also was a little bit off. I feel like he looked like he could have lifted some more weights or something. He looked kind of pudgy. Let's not lie.
Well, compared to this film, his design in the 2003 film was a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
I'll elaborate my opinion.
We'll get into what we actually...
my concise opinion of the 2003 film. But I think by now it's time we got into the plot of this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about this film.
Let's get started. Bizarro Critic.
Okay.
Go BC.
All right. So the movie begins pretty much as I said before. It opens with Bruce Banner's origin, which I really like. I like that thing where I like this. And I'm kind of surprised not many movies are doing this now, where they just have the origin in the flash, as a flashback, where they briefly show, him like he's doing the experiment. He's with Betty, which will clearly be a love that we'll see develop throughout the Marvel universe. And we see how he became the Hulk, and where it would lead to him to eventually go into hiding and eventually end up in South America, where he'd be working at what was it? It was like a soda factory. It was like a soda factory.
Yeah, it was like some canned.
No, not canned. It was bottled. I remember.
Bottled soda.
Yeah. And yeah, it was pretty much there's that issue right there. Bruce, he's he's trying to understand the language. We just see his daily routine. He's trying to understand the language. He's doing meditation to keep himself calm. He goes to lessons and stuff. We have a guy
watching Portuguese Muppets.
Oh, Sesame Street. But yeah, he's talking to this instructor guy, and he's teaching him how to control his anger. Which I'm like, which I was curious.
That scene that guy where he goes,
yeah, which is actually how some people do that, but
it's so weird. It's like the Dwayne Johnson scene from fucking Journey 2.
Oh yeah, where he's at the pack of love
with the bouncing biceps and shit. For Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, but no.
Josh Hutcherson lost a big one, by the way, when he lost Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but the whole thing with that is, but yeah, it does look. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it does look a little bit jarring, but that's how some people do that. That's some of the messages they do sometimes. But yeah, which I'm curious about this. Does the guy know that Bruce Banner is the Hulk? Because
do any of them though?
Well, obviously not everybody knows. But I'm wondering if that guy knows because if Bruce had to go to a specialist to control his anger, and that dude will smack him around. He smacks him a few times during that scene to help him control it.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder. Was there ever a moment where Bruce maybe not turn to the Hulk, but did he ever green up and stuff?
And then Bruce had that sort of half relationship thing with that
one woman,
with that Portuguese woman, or Brazilian woman, whatever. So next part, get to the part about the Stan Lee cameo.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that, and in some way
that plays into the plots.
Okay,
the
yeah.
next part of
So
the plot.
while we're seeing his routine, one day at work, he accidentally cuts his finger.
With a really pathetic CGI moment, seeing that, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah, with the fake CGI blood, which, it falls down, it hits one of the bottles. Bruce thinks that he got all the blood because, he doesn't want the blood to, infect, because, first of all, his blood is very dangerous to begin with. But at the same time, he also, obviously you don't want any blood in the fucking production line. So he thinks he got it. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. Instead, it was actually shipped off and, put in mixed with some soda and stuff, which Stan Lee got. Yeah,
We forgot to mention Stan Lee's cameo in Iron Man in the first one, where he was just some guy like Hef. He was pretending to be a real.
That was the second movie where he's like.
No. The second movie, he was Larry King.
Oh yeah.
He was Larry. Even though he barely looks like Larry King.
Yeah.
In the first movie, he was some. I think he was portraying some real life.
Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner, whatever. But yeah, he was Hugh Hefner in that movie now, and he's this bottled guy who gets a bigger punch than he thought.
And
when
dies.
He goes, wow, he died? I thought he just got sick.
Yeah, no, I think they say he died.
Okay, moving on.
Because he just drops the bottle like that.
So he gets sick, and because
because the autopsy report, again, they have to have known that from the autopsy report that it had been radiation.
Okay.
It was Bruce's blood. They kind of suspect it, and they track it down to South America. They find him, and it leads to Ross. He comes back. He's played by a different actor. They're all played by fucking different actors. And we also meet the main villain, Blonsky, who they even have to I love the fact that they have to actually emphasize that he is in fact Russian by saying born in Russia, raised in England, which I'm like, did you really have to explain that? You could, okay, be honest, man. Do you think that they could have just, gone away with them just saying his name's Blonsky and they didn't have to, explain why he doesn't have a Russian accent?
No, I think they kind of had to, because it's very different from the comics, even though I don't know much about it.
In the comics, he was kind of he was from Russia, but I don't.
Wasn't he a Soviet soldier or something?
Yeah, but I just feel like it's a little bit you don't we get it. He's not the same guy from the comics. You could the fact that they even have the name is surprising that they kept Blonsky's name.
And we should also point out that after Bruce first becomes the Hulk in the opening scene, it's been over 5 years.
Yeah,
it's been over 5 years since that.
And the movie actually reminds you by doing this counter where it constantly does day without incident, and they tell you how many days it's been since he was the Hulk, emphasizing how much control and how much he's had to endure doing this.
Days without bullshit.
Yep, and. While Bruce has been doing this, while they're looking for Bruce, we find out Bruce is contacting someone by the name of Mr. Blue. And he's been sending his blood, and Mr. Blue says, I think I might have been actually able to find a way to cure you. So Bruce is, excited about that. But unfortunately, shit goes wrong because Blonsky and the guys show up, and they find Bruce, they attack the dog. Yeah, because Bruce had a dog, and to show how evil or cruel they are, they gotta hurt the dog. And then it leads to this big chase. Bruce is met with these jackasses from his work who were bullying him in the beginning. Eventually, Bruce, obviously, he hulks out, and this is actually the first time we actually hear Hulk talk. We did hear him talk in the previous movie, but it was all in his head. It wasn't actually him saying, it wasn't Hulk actually talking. When he said puny human, that was, again, it was a dream. It wasn't really him. Finally, and Hulk says his the words, and the words he simply says is, "Leave me alone." And then it leads to this massive...
I was really shocked by that, rewatching that. I'm like, did he really say something? Because I did not catch that at all in the past years.
Yeah, and then, and this is actually a really cool reveal scene, where, it's just, a straight-up horror film, where, you don't see him, but he's just grabbing these guys left and right, and he's just, just wiping the floor with them, quite literally. Eventually it leads to the scene where Blonsky, he has a shot, he's about to shoot him, but then he sees his face, he stops, and then Hulk just leaves. And then we learn, and again,
Unless you realize how shitty the Hulk looks.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I have a real spoony moments where when the Hulk steps in the light and shows himself, I'm like, what the fuck is that shit? That's it? That's Hulk? What is that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the look. My issue is this, though. Because say what you will, because even though I do have problems with Hulk's design in the 2003 film, at least, like, it kind of resembles the actor. This Hulk looks nothing like Edward Norton. Like, his hair is so freaking shaggy and long.
And aesthetically speaking, Edward Norton is too skinny. He's too tall to be Bruce Banner.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with him being skinny, but the whole thing is that he doesn't, the face build doesn't even fit at all. Like, when it comes to, like, Mark Ruffalo, like, he looks like the Hulk, him and the Hulk do look alike. They look very similar.
And again, aesthetically speaking, the most perfect-looking Bruce Banner after all these years is still Eric Bana to me.
Yeah.
He looks perfect as Bruce Banner. Say what you will about his performance and yada yada.
But look-wise, he was great.
But anyway, back to the... I'm just gonna finish up with the whole CGI shit, like, and this especially becomes more prominent with the big scene at the university, because not just because of how shitty the Hulk looked, but the action scene itself, the lighting. If you look closely, the lighting was very off. It didn't make sense why this part, like the front of Hulk, would be shadowed when he's clearly walking in light and so forth. And these other moments, I could tell that they're just being Paramount and Universal were just being really lazy with the aesthetics of Hulk. They're like, just put it together already.
Yeah, like
which is one of the things I praised the 2003 film for, because he looks. I know he doesn't agree with me, but he looks perfect in the 2003 film. Even better. I'm saying this, even better than in the Avengers films.
All malice that you might have towards that film, please direct to him.
Fuck you. fuck you so much. But anyway, so back to the story. Hulk departs, and Blonsky's a bit freaked out, but also he starts having this obsession, right?
Well, like, it's not really an obsession. It's more like he's just fucking pissed that Ross didn't tell him the truth, because, like, Ross kind of just said, I want you to go get Banner. He didn't tell him what the fuck was up with Banner and why he was needed. And I love that moment where he just, like, I don't know why, but I love that scene where he's just like, and threw that fucking thing like it was a softball. He doesn't say fuck, but I'm paraphrasing here. But I love that moment where he just is like, what the fuck was that? Like, what did you just put me through? What did you just drag us in here? He's more pissed off that him and his men just got taken out like that, and eventually, and we learn more about the Hulk in here. And again, this is why I say this isn't really like the 2003 film, because the 2003 film, it was mostly about they were trying to make a person resistant to radiation. They were trying to make people resistant to gamma rays. And Bruce was trying to do that, but that was only a cover story. Bruce only, Ross quickly reveals to him that the experiments that they were doing, even though he told Banner that they were saying that they were trying to make people immune to radiation, it was really a super soldier program. Which, again, tied it more in... Again, that was another Captain America reference that they did in these movies.
Which was in the Ultimate Comics. That was Hulk's origin in the Ultimate Comics. Yeah. They were trying to recreate the super soldier formula. Yeah, and that... I think Bruce knew in the comics. He knew in the Ultimate Comics that he knew that was happening, right?
He knew in the comics, or at least that's what that's what I remember. It's been a while since I've read Ultimates, because I'm not the biggest fan of Ultimates, though I did enjoy Ultimate Spider-Man. And... Yeah, I guess I did forget about that part where, he did actually know about that, and he was trying to make the super soldier program. But in this one, he didn't know. He was just trying to make people immune to radiation. Well,
Ross was a bastard. He
fucking
deceived him, fucking lied to him and his daughter.
Yeah, and then we have this whole thing where he talks to Blonsky, and Blonsky, they tell him, like, you gotta do this thing, and, like, the process that, and, like, okay, a lot of people have issues with Abomination of, like, oh, he was only Abomination for, like, the very last scene of the movie, and yeah, that bugged me. But the thing that I like about the movie that bugged me about Iron Man 2 is that, not Iron Man 2, well, Iron Man 2 had this problem too, but with Iron Man 1 is that you got to spend time with Blonsky. You actually got to know more about Blonsky. Maybe not, like, we got to see him develop. We got to see him become the Abomination, the monster. How it started off as him just wanting to get this mission done and take out Banner, to him slowly becoming more power hungry and more obsessed with the fight. And, the process where, like, the process itself where they give him the serum is fucking intense. Like, it just looks painful.
Yeah. And it does the same thing with the first Iron Man film, where the big villain, the main villain that really counts, doesn't appear until the climax.
Yeah.
Where Ironmonger was in the climax, and now Abomination was in the climax. But
Yeah.
going back to, I think, like after Ross tells Blonsky that was Banner, and then Bruce wakes up in Guatemala, like
Yeah, and then we get to the famous scene where they reenact the most classic moment of the Hulk TV show, the Lonely Walk, and they even played them. They even do like their version of the music. It's a very nice scene. It really shows kind of like the sad loneliness that Bruce must go through. Eventually, he travels to, I think it was San Francisco. He traveled to.
well, San Francisco had somewhat of a bigger role in the 2003 film.
Yeah.
This eventually ends up in New York, because of course.
Well, yeah, the movie ends in New York.
Everything ends up in New York. Everything ends up in the Big Apple.
Well, because Marvel Heroes. Because I think Marvel Heroes, like, they all came from New York, but yeah, at least in the movies, at least in the movies they branch out, because Iron Man was in California, Hulk was traveling all over the place.
And I think that's one of the biggest reasons I love Hulk so much, is because unlike other superheroes, he travels the world.
Yeah.
He travels the world trying to cure himself.
And he doesn't even want to be a superhero. He just wants to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's what I love so much about him. That's why I loved him so much as a kid. As a kid, I was like, whoa, ay caramba. This is a superhero who wants to cure himself of his superpowers.
Ay caramba. Were you Bart Simpson?
I said that a lot when I was a kid, okay?
Wow. Okay.
That was the earliest swearing I ever did. I never sweared. That's how I first started swearing, was saying "ay caramba" and "what the heck," and being shocked that I said "what the heck," and then "what the hell," and then "damn it," and "god damn it," and "shit," and "crap," and...
Okay, enough with your secret origin. But, yeah, so... Yeah, the point is, he goes down, he ends up hiding at this pizza joint, where I guess he has a relationship with the guy. It's never really fully established.
I think it's established enough.
You know, like, it's definitely
it's near Culver University. Is that a real university, or is that from the comics?
Honestly, I don't know, because, I should actually be looking at that stuff, because I've been, like, looking into going to, like, other schools. But there he meets, he hangs out with the pizza guy and stuff, and apparently, I guess it's a hangout. It's like a personal hangout that him and Betty went to. And Betty is there. She has her boyfriend who apparently is actually, I know.
Doc Samson.
Yeah, it's
to be honest, I barely know shit about this character.
I honestly didn't realize that was Doc Samson until, like, later on when I was older.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have 5 more seasons of Modern Family to do. Those motherfuckers won't stop.
Yeah, also, yeah.
I think
next time you see me, I'll have luscious green locks.
I think Ty Burrell himself has said he wants to play Doc Samson. He wants to get to be Doc Samson.
Yeah, and maybe and maybe someday we'll see Doc Samson if Universal stops getting their stick up their fucking asses. But yeah, whatever. So the point is though that Betty sees Bruce again, and I guess fuck her current boyfriend. She starts making out with this guy.
Yeah,
and which I don't know. I guess maybe the guy knew. Or something, like he knew that she still loved him or something, but it's never really fully developed. But yeah, then they go to the university, they gotta get some information regarding Mr. Blue. We end up, they go to this big chase, Hulk gets revealed, you already talked about your complaints, and I have to agree with a lot of it. Though I will say the fight scene between him and Blonsky is a pretty damn good fight.
Well, the scene itself, I'm saying the scene itself is still really good. It's just certain editing stuff, certain filmmaking stuff that's out of place. That's the continuity doesn't match up. But the scene itself is still really good, and it's definitely one of the highlights of the movie. Yeah,
of like him and Blonsky fighting, and it's a really cool fight.
And him fighting the other military, and the military almost does. I don't know if they're just trying to kill him or they're just trying to knock him out because Ross wants what's inside of him. They use ultrasonic weapons.
Yep.
So this is like proto Hulkbusters, I would say.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of go with that. But yeah, like they're just going all out, and obviously he escapes with Betty, and we have like that
after
scene.
Being spotted. Well, earlier he was spotted by some sophomore college people who were taking photos.
Yeah, and also he met with...
it was like a big green Hulk.
Yeah.
searches for the mysterious Hulk are being under.
Yeah, and also, and I can't forget that also we do get to see the original Hulk, or at least the first live action Hulk.
In both live action films.
Yeah, both live action films. So he gets to do more in this one, where like at least he gets a speaking part.
Yeah.
So we get that.
Doesn't like Bruce bribe him with pizza?
Yeah, he bribes him with pizza, and he's like, "You're the man," which I'm like, "Oh, that's good." And then and Bruce has to eat the heart, swallow the drive to make sure they don't get it, because obviously if he turns into the Hulk, which I guess, it keeps it around.
If this doesn't go down well enough, the worst thing is I'll have to shit this out to get it back.
And he pukes. Yeah, and then after that we get a scene before we record this, you brought this up of that the scene where in the cave has actually a reference to Hulk Gray, which is a comic. Which was written by Jeff Loeb, and it's a really good scene. Granted, it's very different from how it went in the movie, where Betty's more hostile towards the Hulk in there, and but the movie still works pretty well, where Betty kind of gets a more understanding of the Hulk, and that he's pretty much a child. He is he's very he's scared. He doesn't really know what's going on because there's thunder, and he thinks it's someone trying to hurt him.
Like a monster. You know what that just hit me? It's kind of like an allusion to Zax, in a sense, the lightning storm, because Zax is a creature, is a monster of pure electrical energy. That's I think is sentient, but
and they kind of reference him a little bit in the 2003 film, because
I will admit that scene. As far as how it looks, Hulk does look better in that scene.
Yeah.
It's probably the one scene in the movie where he looks the best.
Okay, he's in shadow.
Well, not just that, but I could tell the filmmaking. It was filmed better. It was edited better. Like maybe the color correction was better, and they actually try to make Hulk look the best they could with whatever little budget they had.
Yeah.
It just looks... I need to look this up, because I don't know if this had a smaller budget. Probably had a smaller budget than the 2003 film did.
Yeah.
I think the 2003 film had like 145 mil, and I think this one only had 108 mil or something like that.
Yeah, I gotta look that up on the budget in that one. That's how professional we are, folks. We did not look at the budget. We did not do our research when it came to the budget.
Well, it's not like other people do when it comes to these vlogs.
Some people do. Some people do. But yeah.
Well, it's just us. It's totally. How do I put it?
Just two schmucks who just wanted to
who should be better prepared next time.
Next time we'll be more prepared.
We should also, before moving on with the plot, we should also mention that it's during the second fight with the Hulk that Blonsky takes a sort of proto super soldier formula, like Super Soldier Formula 2.0 or something.
It's not
different from what Bruce had.
Well, no, what happened was that after Hulk, punts him on a tree, he gets, freaking, kicked to a fucking tree, and, almost every bone of his body breaks.
Oh, and I love the part where, the soldiers just let go of Betty, all right, soldiers, get ready to shoot him again, and let go of my daughter so that she can obviously walk out to the Hulk and get herself in mortal danger. God damn it!
Yeah, Betty. So the whole but Blonsky, after that he wakes up.
Why did the military find him in the first place? Why did the military find them in the first place?
Shield.
No.
Shield gets referenced in the movie.
Well, yeah, but who ratted them out? Who ratted them out? The guy who was so important to Betty before.
Yeah, freaking Doc, which Doc does have a moment though.
I don't really hate him. I kind of, but the thing is that just comes.
I think Doc called.
That comes the fuck out of nowhere.
Well,
Where does that come from?
Well, I think he's doing it because Betty didn't come home. Because again, that's why I feel like Betty kind of is a little bit of a bitch in here. Because didn't even tell her boyfriend where she was going. She just drove.
They clearly had a couple of scenes, these really touching scenes where Bruce is watching them from afar, sees that Betty has moved on with her life, but then and when she sees him and they rekindle, that's real touching too. But all of a sudden, the relationship with Doc Samson is just out of the picture.
Yeah, with Samson, the only thing this is what I think that.
But I do really like the scene between Samson and Ross, where Ross is clearly the bastard here, and
Samson. I always thought is that Samson Samson. I'm pretty sure they played it off that he wasn't calling him because of Banner. He was saying he was calling Betty's dad because she didn't come home. I think it was the fact that she didn't come home. He got worried, called her father to see what was up.
that they could have done better with
But
that.
and then like
I love that line where Samson's like, "From who? He protected her. You almost killed her."
Yeah, and then Ross is like, "Where the hell did she find these guys?"
It's a professional pride with me to know when someone is lying, and you are.
Yep.
I used to wonder why she never talked about you. Now I know, and I'm yelling this out in the sunniest rainy day in Culver University.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Every time I see that scene, I'm like, why is it still so fucking sunny? I mean, I know they showed a storm in the background in the fight scene earlier, but now it's raining and it's still sunny. You can still see it's sunny.
Meanwhile, Blonsky, who broke literally every single bone of the body and looked so fucked up when we saw him, gets right back up. He's fully healed, and that's kind of where we start. And this is where we start to see like more of his development towards him getting obsessed with the fight a little bit more. And as the film goes,
pissed off and ready for round 3.
Yeah, and then the more he starts fighting and stuff, we actually start to see his spine. The spikes start developing in his back. But he hides it, and we even have like a moment where like there's like, how do you feel? And he's like a monster, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. While it's going on, Bruce and Betty are like traveling, and we learn the unfortunate thing for Bruce is that, and this is how it's truly a curse. He can't have sex.
I was gonna say, then we get to horny Betty.
Oh god,
that was so fucking funny. It was adorable.
Yeah,
it's kind of fucking adorable where he's like, no, I can't get too excited. And Betty's like, no, do it right. Betty's like, not even a little excited.
And he just has that look of a man who just like climaxed early. He's just like, oh god. And she's like, it's
Don't forget to mention the taxi scene later.
Oh yeah, the taxi scene. I'll get to that.
After so now we're at the point where Betty and Bruce leave behind all the traceable stuff, the credit cards, phones, and stuff.
Yeah.
And then what happens next? Isn't this the part where they go to Samuel Stern's?
Yeah, they had
including.
They go through all that. They also have like a little brief reference to the purple pants by Betty buying him like purple elastic pants.
This is the stretchiest I could find.
Yeah, and then eventually, through their travels, they finally head to New York. We have this moment where Betty, where they're saying, well, we should take the subway, and Bruce is like, let's go to a tin can full of like some of the Anger's people. And, they try for a cab instead. Turns out it's even more fucking hostile. And Bruce is calm while Betty's freaking the fuck out. And then, Bruce is like, I know some breathing techniques. And she's like, shut up! And I'm like, oh, that's funny. And then finally we meet...
I totally forgot about that until I saw it again. Because, I'm sorry, I should have said this earlier, but this is... Even compared to the worser films of the MCU, to me, this is the most forgettable of the movies.
Yeah. It's kind of in a way because the Marvel films, and I'll get into this later, but the Marvel films kind of don't talk about this for so many reasons. After they get out of the cab and they have that moment, they meet with Mr. Blue, who is, a professor, and he's super excited to meet Bruce. He's fascinated with him. And he reveals to Bruce that, he's, and it looks like he might have cured him, and we get the really, really hard to watch, not because it's so grotesque, but because it just looks so poorly done, of him transforming into the Hulk. As creepy as it was...
He admits it.
Yeah, again, I like this version I do prefer this version of Hulk, but I will say that the design does not work because of one reason, and one reason only. He doesn't look they don't look alike. They don't look alike at all. Again, I've said this before, but they don't look alike, and it's so distracting. And so
Hulk, but Betty calms the Hulk down.
Yeah, he calms the Hulk down, and they go through the process. And Bruce looks like he might have actually, been cured. And then he reveals that, we didn't actually, I don't know if I actually have cured you or if I just suppressed it. And then he says, and he brings up more test subjects, and he reveals that...
You forgot to mention this earlier. It just hit me a second ago. That you never said where while he was in South America, Mr. Blue was begging for or at least pressuring him for blood samples. So he secretly sent blood samples.
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention that.
So he secretly sent blood samples, and this is a month before this point.
Yeah, he was small doses.
So apparently Samuel Stearns has all these test subjects, all these experiments and stuff in less than a month. How could he do all that in less than a month?
Yeah, apparently what he was doing is that, Bruce was giving him small amounts of blood, and he needed more to test on. but he didn't have enough. But since he didn't have enough blood, he had to make more. So I guess what he did is that he somehow was capable of splicing some of Bruce's blood into other animals.
But even then, I would think that would take longer.
Yeah, like that is again. That's kind of a weird thing right there. But which I guess that kind of is a reference to what
the gamma animals,
the gamma dogs in the first one.
No. Like I thought this was in the comics.
Well, yeah, in the comics they did also have some gamma based animals, but also I feel like it's also supposed to be a reference to the dogs as well, since those also were science experiments gone awry. Though they looked really fucking silly in that version.
Oh, God. They were cool. The Hulk dogs. I think the movie literally, in the scene selection, the movie literally called them the Hulk dogs or something, which is a really cool name.
Yeah, but as it goes on, Bruce tells him we gotta get rid of it, and we kind of get glimpses that, he's kind of fucked up. He can't be trusted. What's going on? Ross shows up. He captures Bruce. He says, if, you took him away from me, I'll this will be the end of you. Betty's like, if
he means what he means is if Bruce has cured himself, if he's taken the power, if he's taken the power of the Hulk away, then Ross will imprison him apparently.
Yeah, and then Betty is like, I don't want to forgive you and stuff, and Ross is just like, yeah, whatever.
It's pretty ironic because the reason why Ross is such a great villain in the comics and in the cartoon and so forth is that he simply wants to kill the Hulk.
Yeah.
He wants to kill the Hulk and Bruce, no matter what, and he thinks he's protecting his daughter. He thinks he's protecting the world, and he's a very human-based villain. He's a very likable anti-hero.
Yeah, and honestly, like when it comes to Red Hulk, which that's a video for another time. Red Hulk. When it came to the whole Red Hulk thing, like I feel like they kind of missed out a lot with that. He goes. They're about to go. What's going on? Blonsky and some other soldier. I forget if they gave her a name. They're talking to him and stuff. They're doing an interrogation, and the professor is pretty much being like, well, I can't freaking just honestly, it was a freak accident. I can't really know if I can do that again. And then Blonsky knocks her out. He tells him that you're gonna pump me with this stuff, and he's like, you'll be an abomination, because again, we can't just fucking call them by what they are in the comics.
I think it was kind of clever.
It works in here, but the Ironmonger thing still bugs me.
No, that was even better. I should have made a stronger point of this, but what they did in the first Iron Man film was much more cleverly subtle. I had no idea. I don't think anyone had any idea that was supposed to refer to Ironmonger. Nobody knew who this character was, except fucking asshole.
That's my thing, man. Okay, but
the same thing with this movie. Like, what would become of you? You look like you have something in you already.
Yeah.
What would become of you would be.
Yeah, and then right when he does this, he instantly regrets it, and he's like, maybe we can put you back on the table. He smacks him down. He gets the blood, and then it starts the cracked vial of Bruce's blood starts dripping into his head, and then he just has that smiling face, and he's just like,
he's going to become
the leader.
The leader.
Yep. And does it go anywhere? Survey says.
Fuck that. Apparently.
Yeah,
but I get the feeling that here's my theory. Like Samuel Stearns was forced into employment by S.H.I.E.L.D., but he was secretly becoming the leader.
Well, like the comics did. Well, they did do a comic based in that universe that actually showed what happened to him.
Yes, he got knocked out by Black Widow, and that was that.
Yeah, which it felt
and
weird.
probably that comic made after Iron Man 2 was released?
It was made after or right before Avengers. It was like they did this lineup to build up to Avengers where they did a whole bunch of stories that, explain what was going on in between the stories.
Okay, so now it's time for the climax.
Yep, it leads.
And unlike Hulk, Abomination is actually fully sentient, fully conscious, and totally insane.
Yeah, and he's just like screaming. He's just like, "Give me a real fight." And he's just like going through all these going through this. Bruce
and he looks a lot better than he does in the comics, or at least in the old comics.
Yeah.
Let's face it, for those who don't know, in the comics, Abomination is a fish head. He's literally a fish head.
He's the creature from the Black Lagoon on steroids.
But to be honest, in modern comics, he looks a lot better.
Yeah,
they change his coloring.
Yeah,
they
spruced it up a little bit. As time goes on, they improved the design. I think one of my favorite designs, I forget who did this run, but it was a really cool design where he almost looked like he was a fucking corpse. It was really creepy looking, and I feel like that works, especially since, yeah, it does look like an abomination looking thing.
So where do you want to continue with?
So yeah, Bruce pretty much is about to. Bruce says, we got, I can stop him, but Betty's like, we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know if it's actually gone. Bruce is like, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe my heart, he's gonna try to fall off the plane, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep his blood, get his heart pumping and get the adrenaline in. And at first it looks like it might not work, but fake out, it actually did work. And then it leads to the really cool.
Well, why else would he make a big hole in the ground unless?
Yeah.
Because otherwise he'd just splatter everywhere, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would just splatter all over the place. So of course it fucking works. Plus we saw on the fucking trailer. Of course it's gonna work.
It's an awesome teaser trailer, by the way.
Yeah, and then it leads to the big fight of the two duking out, and we get some cool we get some cool moments with Abomination where he's just fighting, and again he is just he doesn't even care about anything else. He just wants to fight someone, and when he's fighting Hulk, he just looks at him and spits out his blood, and he's like, "Is that the best you got?" And
he spat out a tooth.
Oh well. Okay, yeah, he spat out a tooth on
But blood would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought he also spat out blood too. But while it's going on, Ross is assisting him because even he realized he fucked up royally because now they're trying to shoot and they were even shoot him. He's like, which one?
So to be clear, this Abomination is a mixture of Super Soldier 2.0, Super Soldier 3.0, plus the Hulk energy. Let's just call it the Hulk energy that Stearns got from Bruce. He passed it on to Blonsky.
Pretty much. And now, actually I just realized I didn't even call him by his real name. I kept calling him Mr. Blue. They have the fight. Things get kind of intense. The helicopter that Betty and Ross are in, it crashes. And then we get the big moment where Hulk, it's no longer just a whisper. He's just straight up saying it, where he just yells, "Hulk! Smash!" And then, he just goes...
That was an awesome moment.
Yeah, it is a badass moment right there. He takes out Abomination. He's about to, strangle him, and Betty's like, "No!" And then, he decides he won't do it, but he still runs away.
But saying goodbye to his adoring fans.
Yep.
Where did those people come from? All those cops. The cops are one thing, but what about all those people who are just standing there watching him?
I think it's kind of implied that they didn't evacuate. They clearly didn't evacuate everywhere because, Abomination was killing random people in some parts. He was fighting soldiers, but there's some points where you can clearly tell that he was also attacking just random citizens.
In Harlem, apparently, which was briefly referenced to in the Avengers.
Yeah. And then after the fight's over, he runs off. We see that Bruce is, meditating again, but this time instead of him just, trying to just prevent him from getting angry, his eyes open, it's green, and then, the day without incident, it goes, there's no, apparently every day has an incident, and he's, doing this every day, and he's becoming the Hulk 24/7.
Not really, because it said 31 days without incident.
But it drops down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
So and then
and then we have our post-credit scene,
which was spoiled in the frickin' I don't know. Okay, to the people that don't know this, to the people that did not know this, at this time, they spoiled this scene, and right after Iron Man came out. So I guess I don't know. I guess someone got so fucking excited they decided they don't want to hide this anymore. They released an image of. They released a scene where Tony Stark shows up at a bar. He's talking to Ross, and he brings up how, the Super Soldier program was shut down for a reason. And, he's like, "I hear you got some problems." And, Ross is like, "You were one to talk." And Tony Stark brings up, "Well, what if I told you we're setting up a team?" Which, kind of, was contradicted in the end of Iron Man 2, but was later fixed later on in the Marvel shorts. But I'll get into that when we get to Iron Man 2. On a whole, I really loved this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I really do like it. I'm not going to say it's perfect, because, again, it had some errors. But it did lead to some really cool stuff. And also, it was one of the few superhero movies at the time that didn't kill off the bad guy. And and it wasn't even, one of those movies... And usually when they do a movie where they don't kill off the bad guy, it's either they have plans for the villain for the future, which is very rare nowadays. Honestly, the only one I could think of that didn't kill off their main villain from the beginning was Superman. But other films, other time where there were the only time they didn't kill off the villain in a superhero movie was because they had two villains. One they kill off and one they keep alive. For example, the Batman films where the Tim Burton Schumacher Batman films, we had We always had like 2 or 3 villains, and at least one of them came back, they were still alive. Like for Batman Returns, we had Penguin died, Catwoman lived, and Batman Forever, Riddler lived, Two-Face died, and then in Batman Robin, Bane's the only one that dies, but Ivy and Freeze get to live.
True that.
Yeah.
But anyway, first of all, I think it's amazing that the post-credit scene is right before the end credits.
Yeah.
So why would they even call it a post-credit scene if it's right before the end credits? That's stupid.
Yeah.
But and this is the last time we see General Ross, because next time in some very special films we'll see Secretary Ross.
Yeah, we'll hear your time.
Who's never explained his history with the Hulk, let alone how he became a Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
This guy, this bastard, became Secretary of Defense of all people.
Well, they do explain that there's some shady shit that goes on when it comes to stuff regarding the Hulk, because, besides Ross, again, I'll talk about it when
another thing that I should bring up before I forget is, this should not have been the only Hulk film before Avengers. I really think they should have made at least 1 or 2 more Hulk films.
And the reason being is... Sorry.
Because that way we could have seen a classic-esque Hulk story where Bruce Banner's trying to find a cure, but has to go through all this shit, has to go through another crazy adventure or another crazy journey to take another step, whether it's big or small, of trying to cure himself, just like we saw in the cartoon, just like we saw in the comics for decades, even though...
The movie, the TV show, live-action TV show,
Oh, I barely know anything about that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a pretty good show. It was actually the first time they showed Thor and Daredevil in live action.
Oh, yeah.
Daredevil? Yeah, Daredevil.
Okay, anyway,
Another time we'll talk about that.
So my overall thoughts of this film is that it's very good. When I first saw it as a kid, I thought it was very good, but I also forgot it instantly because compared to the 2003 film, I know everybody says that the 2003 film is boring. You can make but for a long, long time, you could tell me how boring the 2003 film was, and I would tell you, this movie, this is the one that was boring. Like, for so long, every time I tried to give this a chance, I couldn't stand it. And even today, it's still a bit tedious. It has serious pacing, writing issues that make it very tedious, but in some cases worse than others. But when I finally watched it again after a while longer, because the last time I saw this was like a couple years ago, just to remind myself how it went down, thoroughly how it went down, and then I watched it again and I'm like, you know what? This is a lot better than I remember the last time a couple years ago. If I had to rank it, which I'm going to try to do with these movies, unlike this guy, is
I do rank these movies worst to greatest, but
I do it in percentages. That's just me. For this, I'd probably, in the old days, I'd probably give it no higher than a C+, than a 78, maybe 79%. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's better than Thor Ragnarok. But that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
And I would have to give this movie an 86%, like a solid B. Better than Wonder Woman to me. But of course, Wonder Woman. I know everybody loves Wonder Woman. I really like it. I really like Wonder Woman, but it's just not that great of a film to me. And Man of Steel outbeats it to me. But that's just me, and I don't think Man of Steel is that great of a film either. I think it's a very, very good film. That's it. But that's a whole different. Those are 2 whole different stories another time.
Yeah, please. Please hold your pitchforks. Let him explain a little bit before you go that shit.
When I do need to explain it, I don't need to explain it right now.
Yeah.
This movie, I do like how it gradually explains Bruce's backstory, Ross's backstory. It kind of does the same thing here with the red herring villain, where Ross is the villain for most of the film, but then this other guy steps in as a much worse threat.
Yeah, but I feel like with this one it was a little bit like, though unlike Iron Man, where they at least attempted to be a little bit more subtle with it, because again, even though they had Obadiah Stane as, the poster kind of showed him being looking more sinister, they never flat out showed him doing anything evil. Well, in this one you do see Blonsky kind of going a little bit creepy, and they have the body horror thing with his spine going all.
I just wish they had elaborated on a lot more in this. It just didn't feel. After all these years, especially when I first saw it as a kid, it just didn't feel like a complete Hulk movie or a Hulk movie at its best. Unlike the 2003 film, I think one of the highest points for this movie is the acting, especially compared to the 2003 film. So on that tangent, I will concisely put my opinion out there about the 2003 film. Yeah. Because I also watched the 2003 Ang Lee Classic. That's what it is to me, is the Ang Lee Classic. I watched the Ang Lee Classic again before getting ready for this. And to me, it's clearly the superior film. Particularly because of the writing, the tone, and so forth. But I will admit, like, something that really shocked me, which I didn't take into consideration the last time I saw it, which was just a couple of years ago, around the time that I saw Incredible Hulk. I think I saw this back-to-back, actually, because I wanted to compare it at the time, just casually. And now I did it again to prepare for this. I will admit the acting in the 2003 film is very off-key.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what Ang Lee was going for. I guess Ang Lee was trying too hard to be dramatic, was trying too hard to be tragically toned or whatever. Especially when they didn't need to be. Like, they act this way even when they're just literally when they're just having a day at the office. They're acting, oh, well, let's do this. Oh, we gotta do this. We better do this test.
Yeah.
Let's throw in a joke here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Ang Lee, please, don't. You're trying too hard, man.
Yeah.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah.
And they look so dead. I can't believe I'm saying this. They look so dead.
Yeah.
They look and sound so dead, and it makes no sense.
Yeah. I get Bruce why he would act like this, because they played off that Bruce has always had this power in him, and he's always been so bottled up and shit. Because again, they even have it where every time he got upset, a little bit of green would pop out of his skin. But yeah, which by the way, no one fucking noticed that. No one ever bring that up.
I only saw that I noticed that with Baby Bruce, but not so much with Little Bruce. I didn't notice that until I saw it again. And
that's still kind of something you'd think you would see.
And there's a deleted scene from the 2003 film that's just really cool, where this major bitch at his high school humiliates him in front of a bunch of other students who are just passing by, and then he shakes up, turns green, and she scares the fuck away. It's really cool. But yeah, 2003 film, I will admit, acting should have been a lot better. Acting is a lot better in this movie. So this movie,
it is Edward Norton, fucking Fight Club there.
But yeah, I have never seen Fight Club. And,
how dare you!
2003 film has better writing, better characterization, and etc. I just wish the acting could have been a lot better. I probably could admit it's melodramatic, but that's something else to consider. But anyway, this is a very good film overall. As shitty as Hulk looks, what they do with him, writing-wise and action-wise, is pretty impressive, especially compared to the 2003 film, where its action, it's still a lot of fun to watch, but I will admit the action in the 2003 film is very slow for some reason. But yeah, what else? The Abomination looked a lot better. For some reason, they clearly put more time and effort to make him look convincing.
Well, because I think with him, it's I don't know, because with them, they have, I feel like with Abomination, they had to try a little harder, because unlike Hulk, it's not, it's just a muscle-bound green guy, so they can be, they just gotta make a muscle-bound green guy, so they didn't really think about it that much. With Abomination, you have to think a little better on this one, because it's not just some big green guy, it's a fucking monster. It's supposed to be, very grotesque and very creepy. Personally, for me, I wish he looked a little bit more like Comic Book Convert. I'm not saying you gotta make him exactly like Creature from the Black Lagoon on steroids, but make him look a little bit, make him a little bit more scalier, give him more reptilian look to it.
But anyway, falling back onto Edward Norton, tell us the tragic story of why Sir Edward Norton could no longer join us for the MCU.
Sir Norton, was he fucking knighted? Because last time I checked, I don't think he was knighted.
Get to it.
Okay, this is.
Hold on a second.
So unfortunately, the reason why Edward Norton did not
start over.
Okay, so unfortunately, the reason why Edward Norton was not chosen to continue on is because apparently he was having problems with the actors. Apparently, he was incredibly hard to work with. And he just couldn't get along with anyone. So eventually, he was replaced by Mark Ruffalo.
Fuck off, Skinny.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how Liv Tyler must have felt having to put up with that asshole Like,
Yeah.
especially with that excitement scene.
Oh God. Oh man, please stop posing like that, man. That's so freaking. That's just so cringy. Seriously, I will punch you if you do that again. And like make it very, very clear, people. I'm a man of my word. I have. He will actually admit that I do this.
No. He's fucking lying. No. Anyway, okay, so
Yeah.
so Edward Norton, fuck Edward Norton.
Yeah, he's kind of Edward Norton was really hard to work with, and in fact, actually, going slightly off tangent, he would actually reference this in Birdman. In Birdman, they would bring up the fact that he was taken out of movies a lot because he's a mess to work with, and so it's
and he's not, as far as acting goes,
he's not bad as Bruce Banner, like
No, but he was still weak compared to Eric Bana, especially compared to Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
he was nowhere as good. And what about let's also discuss briefly Betty Ross and Liv Tyler. Why are we still not seeing, like, did you in case you've already noticed, clearly everyone must know by now.
Betty's nowhere to be seen.
No, not that. Hulk and Black Widow, they're a thing. Didn't you know? Doesn't everybody know?
Yeah.
Because apparently everybody's supposed to know, and they shove that into you in Infinity War and so forth.
Well, not Infinity War, more like the set.
I'm just gonna say this right now, and I will remind you guys in a later video. In a certain age of what was it?
Clowns. I think that's what you called it.
Fuck you! I was supposed to say that. And in a later video, I will be saying, aren't you forgetting someone? Betty Ross. What the fuck happened to her? Please tell us.
Okay, so this is the really crappy thing that has happened. So,
they clearly had a big relationship in this movie.
Like, she left her boyfriend for him again. So...
For fuck's sake, she left her boyfriend! She left Doc Samson behind!
Yeah, so pretty much the reason being, and it's the same reason why you have not seen Abomination or The Leader, why Leader's build-up was never really done, was because apparently... Universal had the rights to Hulk. They actually have control over most of the Hulk assets. So, I'm not entirely sure exactly why how they were able to get Ross. Hulk was contracted, and so they had they could bring in Hulk. It was kind of the similar deal that they did with Spider-Man. But all the other Hulk supporting cast, Abomination, Leader, Doc Samson, and unfortunately Betty, they can't be featured in there, which is really annoying because there's a lot of people I know who've wanted to see characters like She-Hulk appear and want to see an actual payoff of the Leader and see him do some stuff.
And I did see some stuff online about Liv Tyler. Some people were wondering, isn't she going to come back?
Yeah, and apparently in Age of Ultron, she was supposed to get a reference. Bruce was supposed to talk about her. Bruce was supposed to address the issue regarding their relationship and explain that Bruce just, I think again, I have to go back and look at this, and I'll look at it, and I'll talk about this when we get to Age of Ultron. Yeah. But the whole issue is that, I think the reason being was that Bruce was just tired of having Betty. He didn't want Betty to suffer and deal with this crap anymore. So he just said, we need a break off. I don't want I'm fine right now, but I don't want you to be constantly under surveillance and shit. So I think we should break up or something. I think that's what it was. I could be completely wrong here.
Who knows? Betty Ross, the Leader, Abomination, all that good stuff, wasted. And let's face it, the MCU at this point, after all these years, the MCU is full of MacGuffins that went nowhere.
Yeah, well, the early days at least. Nowadays, whenever they do something, there's always a payoff to it. But yeah, early days they did a lot of. Well, we'll wait and see. Cause
we're still waiting for Howard the Duck and them duck titties. No!
Why do you remind me of this shit?
Oh, fuck. Ouch.
Told you I'm a man of my word, bitches.
Okay. Okay. I think this is a good stopping point.
Yep.
Incredible Hulk. Very good. A lot better than I remember. And would you agree, very good, or just good, or what?
I think it's fun to watch, and much like Iron Man, and even though it's not good...
would you prefer it over the 2003 film?
For me, yes, personally. I like elements of the 2003 film, and I get what they were trying to do, but I really do like this one, because it feels like they were trying to have a little bit more fun with this concept, and not try to play it too seriously. Again, I know Marvel has this issue of doing too many jokes, but I feel like especially in the early days, they had a good job balancing that crap out. But
In the early days, the good old days.
Yeah.
That's our Incredible Hulk vlog review. We're about to start Iron Man 2 right now for ourselves, and as for everyone else there, thank you for sharing your time with us today, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Spearman out, and BC.
Good.